get those harmonics messed up. Like when I'll do an open chord, right? We're gonna talk about NAMM in a second, but so open chord here, right? So this is an F, add 6. F, what is this? F13, right? With a flat fifth. What is that? Hello, konnichiwa. So you're doing a harmonic, right? So I'll hit it. Right, I'm so bad at this, right? I'll always miss it. I have no idea why. Hi everyone, just keep going everyone. So the amp, I'm using the Supro 5 watt guy. Just a little, and I have it on the low input, and then the drive is coming from the Halcyon Gold, Origin Effects Halcyon Gold. I haven't used that pedal in a while. It's, man, it's a really good pedal. And then I have reverb and tremolo from the Supro Tremolo. Tyson, what's going on? Paulie, welcome back. Wow, a lot of people saying hi. That's nice. A Blackpink song. That's the Korean pop band, right? Am I right? They're Korean, they're K-pop. I don't know their music, unfortunately. That's not, we're going to be talking about NAMM to my normal, and I feel bad for those of you who don't watch my channel normally. I'm probably not going to, this isn't like a karaoke guitar thing. So there's a lot of other channels that'll do that karaoke stuff for you, so I'm really sorry, but that's not what this has. Man, I just have that old Vox amp, and it has that buzz noise. Can you hear the amp in the video? Zayn, please play Fly to the Moon. Sir, please, easy picking style. Wow, that's a request today. Fly me to the moon? Fly me to the moon? Like Frank Sinatra? I actually was learning that, that song the other day. Strymon Deco. It is honestly one of the best pedals I've owned. And it's the only reason it's not on the board because I've been doing a lot of videos for other things. But when I play live, the Deco is always on the board. It is the most useful, one of the most useful pedals is for like multi-effects. It can do everything. And it's stereo. You have two of them. That's awesome, Paulie. This is not a guitar request channel. Thank you, Tyson. Got to keep it tight. A song by Rose Blackpink. I honestly don't know. I don't know their music. I don't know that artist. I'm really sorry. Play Wonderwall because I'm from Manchester, the big Oasis fan. You must do it. I don't think I'm going to do that song. I'm so sorry. I love Wonderwall. I love Oasis. I think they're actually one of the coolest bands. The last great rock band. But I'm not going to play Wonderwall right now. So sorry. We're going to talk about NAMM. I have the V2. V2 is great. V1 you can find for great prices. V1 still is a great deal. So if you just can afford a V1, that's the way to go. Emmanuel. Hi, Emmanuel. How's it going? You're from Manchester, right? I mean, Manchester's a great place. I heard great things about it. The gain is, my gain right now is at 3 o'clock, so it's very, very low. I'm sorry, not 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I forgot how good also the middle position on. Do I speak Portuguese? I do not. Why is my brother so handsome? Which brother? I have two. They're both pretty handsome. I mean, I think I'm more handsome than them. But they'll probably disagree with you. Or are you talking about Tom? So we're gonna talk about NAMM really quick. The NAMM Hangover. Wow, 33 people watching. Better guitar or better amp? Oh, if you're gonna invest, um, it depends on what you're doing. If you're doing live work, if you're playing out live, you're gigging live. Better amp. The better amp will, and when I mean better amp, I mean better features. So an amp that you can attenuate, like Tone King comes with attenuation inside it, or an amp that has line out, so you can plug into the front of the house. An amp that you can control the volume and the tone at any volume level. Like you control the gain, you can control the nuances of an amp, and a good amp will be so good for live work. That's really more important than getting a good guitar, because people can't really discern once it's at a certain volume level. They won't be like $500 guitar, $2,000 guitar, but people can tell that amp sounds bad. Like having a good speaker in your amp is really important. So if you're playing live, a good amp. But if you're recording at home all the time, then you really just need a good guitar, because you can just use plugins, or you can use amp in a box solutions. So a good guitar is better because you're playing, you're playing in your nuances with the guitar. You can make up for you don't have to record an amp anymore, essentially. Hope that helps. Let's see. Hello from Asia. Hi, Brazil. Let's see. Do I speak Thai? No, I must be getting into the Asian suggestions. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm not Asian. I hate to say that. Tone King Gremlin. Yeah, I have the Gremlin. I love it. It's a great amp. It's great amp if you're playing small venues or venues that mic. It's not a loud amp. Like it's not a loud 5 watts. I know you can change the power tube to make it a little bit louder, but there are louder amps than that. But that's not what it's made for. It's a great small venue. At all my showcases for my buddy, they do a lot of label showcases, and you have to have a small amount of stage volume. And so it's perfect for that kind of thing. And it's light, and it's a beast too. It takes pedals incredibly well. Keep gain and treble at full. Yeah, so you gotta, when your gain is full, what kind of Vox do you have? Do you, because that would be pretty loud, unlike the Voxes that I'm thinking of. Voxes are really loud amps. So EL34s, I mean, those are just ripping and roaring. Are you playing big places? Please play your guitar for me, any song. Okay, I'll play something really quick. I'll play something. Then I want to talk to my guys, though, about stuff. Just a little bit of blues. Just a little bit of blues, guys. Some of these questions are absurd. I feel bad because, so like when I do live stream verticals, it'll literally just throw my stream into anyone's channel. And so I like using it because it's easy. I don't have to set up a computer. But what I don't like is that it feeds me to people that are going to be pretty disappointed with what I play or what I'm doing, because they're used to like a lot of these karaoke channels. And so, and then they see a guitar, they're like, oh, well, let's ask him to play. And I have the guitar to show concept. So again, like I feel bad for the viewers because it's like, it's not their fault that I'm showing up in their feed. It's really, I think it's an imperfect thing. I like that it's showing me to more channels, but at the same time, it's showing me to channels that are expecting something that I'm not gonna do. And then they'll like downvote it, and so it can reflect poorly on future live streams. It's really crazy how they have this going because it really sets me up for disappointment, or it sets you guys up for disappointment, and it sets me up for like a rough stream. Gorillaz songs, yeah, those aren't really guitar songs, but I love the Gorillaz. I think they're a great band. You've been running Poly totally ampless lately. It totally works. It's unbelievable. But I think there's something about the physical. Oh, obviously, we can talk about SPL, but feeling an amp pushing air against your legs, like when you're used to that for years and years and years, I think there's something physical that happens too because there's sound waves that are hitting your body. I like to use it as like sonar, right? When I'm playing, especially if it's like tremolo or something, like you'll feel sound waves kind of telling you where you are in the stage too, which is helpful for me. Whenever I use in-ears, sometimes I get disoriented, especially if it's a dark stage where there's smoke and stuff like that, or like fog and stuff. I get disoriented sometimes, and so I always got to be looking down for the tape, for your marks. Um, let's see. So great. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Thank you for listening. What strings do I use? I just use Diodario, the 10 gauge, just the normal EXLs, and I love them. But I know there's better string. I'm actually going to do a video on String Joy. I finally got a pack of their balanced 10s, and we're going to see how good they sound. Everyone who I know who's a serious player swears by String Joy. They're like they're so good. And I'm like, how good could they be, right? But it's like you think about like a race car driver when they get the tires that they love. They're like, these are the tires. Like these are the tires that I'm going to qualify in. These are the tires that we're going to use. So I'm like, okay, like the tires are the only thing touching the ground. The strings are the only thing touching my fingers. So theoretically, there's probably a lot of room for, like, the ceiling's probably pretty high on good strings. Steve, welcome, my friend. Let's see. How much does this guitar cost? I saw this new the other day for like $6.99. This is the DGT SE. I did a great video on it, and it's really affordable now. I mean, for what this is. There's obviously like Squire Bullets if you want to only spend less than 200. Those are good guitars too. Swapped a String Joy a few months ago. I was skeptical, never look back. That's what everyone says. Everyone says like, yeah, we'll see how good these are, and then they're like, it's worth paying what, twice as much, sometimes 3 times as much. I'm like, they must be that good. So once I start playing live, I have my first meeting with the bass player on next week, so I'm so excited to get the trio going. Anyway, I'm going to talk about NAMM. So NAMM. Everyone has videos for it. I have a video coming out for that sometime soon too. And the thing that I think people are downplaying, it's not like whether NAMM is worth it or not. I think it's more helpful, at least for me, to understand NAMM is, what are you trying to get done, like in your musical career? Because if you're playing musician, if you're working musician, NAMM is probably not the place for you. But if you have any kind of relationship with music industry, like the manufacturers, then that's the place to be. There's no getting around that. Like if you're in my position where you're making videos for brands, you have to go. It's like you gotta go because you got to show them that you're taking it seriously. You have to show them your face, right? FaceTime. That was a big thing before COVID kind of just destroyed that notion. But I think everyone secretly knew, like, no, I need to get in front of the people that I'm gonna be working with so they can trust me, so they can understand who I am, what I'm going for. So for me, it was my first NAMM. I knew it was going to be overwhelming. I've done the trade show circuit before in the software game and the telecom game. And I knew that it was going to be like drinking from a fire hose the first time I go. But now that I kind of feel like I understand what it's going to be next year, I feel like it's going to be a great investment for me. It is. There's no getting around how it is expensive. It's an expensive thing to do. But if you only have to do it once a year, you can save up for it. At least that's my take on it. There's some and brands that have just done really great jobs over there. I do have some notes though I want to say though. Used String Joy for custom size sets, liked NYXL a bit better. Found them brighter. Interesting. Oh, I want to try the NYXL. Do you call them Nixel or Nixel? Nickel, right? Because that's what they're, the nickel. But I feel like if I say nickel, no one knows I'm saying like NYXL. It's in the balance. If you can appreciate the difference, I will appreciate the difference. just not want to be without it. Some can, some can't either, right or wrong. Yeah, right, like the preference. But I'm just surprised at how many guys like you have said, like, it's, I literally can't go back. Like, that's how much of a difference it was for you. Like the value is like worth whatever, their prices are. Which to me shows like, wow, the product is so good. I'm always surprised when I hear that, because it's funny because like you don't talk about strings. If I do, I'm gonna do a video about String Joy, and it's gonna tank. Like no one's gonna watch it, and yet that's how like people will still go like, yeah, they're that good. That's why it's so funny. Like everyone deep down knows like string choice probably matters more than we are accepting it. I want to buy a guitar, and I'm a beginner. Love from India. Oh, great. I mean, there's lots of cheap guitars on Amazon. Not all of them are good. Squire Bullet is probably the lowest you should go for guitars from India. Learning how to play the guitar. Can you recommend some chords? I actually recommend using TrueFire. I still take lessons online from TrueFire. I think they make some of the best lessons for beginners, but all the way up through advanced. Pickup Music is another good channel, but TrueFire I really think has awesome lessons for beginners. What strings I'm using currently? I use the Diodario de 10s, just their normal 10s. But I'm going to try the String Joys and see how I like it, and I have a feeling that I'm going to love them. A Strandberg. Dadgad, nice. You can buy them in bulk. Oh, yeah. See, I want to get... I have one baritone guitar, and I want to string it for... I want to use String Joys on those too. I mean, I have to get the nut all figured out, because the nut's not wide enough. There's all sorts of things happening with that baritone. It's a Squire baritone, so I wasn't expecting like top tier craftsmanship on that thing. But it still sounds good and it's fun. If I want to play the guitar well, how many years do I have to practice? I know people that have gotten good after 6 months of playing, but that's 6 months of playing. I mean, I'll say this. The people who get really good at any musical thing or any just skill is because they become obsessed with it. So if you can become obsessed with it, then you can get really good really quickly. But if you're not obsessed, it'll take years. I've been playing guitar for about 25 years, so longer than 25 years. So it takes a long time to get good at stuff, and but it's easier if you're obsessed, because it doesn't feel like it takes long. Again, like if you're only trying to get good, it might be hard to stay motivated. But if you enjoy the act of practicing, just like with anything in life, if you enjoy working out, if you enjoy talking to your wife, if you enjoy spending time with your children, it doesn't feel like you need to get better, because you're just there and enjoying the time, and you'll naturally get better. So I think what you could look into, I'm not going to tell you what you should do, you're an adult, but what you should look into is, how can I enjoy every time I sit down and play the guitar and push myself to get better, instead of the outcome, which is being good at the instrument. That's just my philosophical thing. Like in case you can tell, I get really obsessed with stuff, and the stuff I get obsessed with, I get better at just because I'm doing it all the time. Squire's a killer, but yeah, they need a lot. They do need a lot of TLC. The more hours, the better, right? Yeah, stop when it hurts too. Yeah, don't get a hand or a wrist thing. Did Goldie survive? Goldie did survive. Goldie was a hit. People loved chatting with Goldie. I got a couple of videos of that, which was funny. Next week, also finally, the Quilter video comes out. I shot it in April, and I'm finally done editing, and I haven't been working on it the whole time, obviously. So this is where I'm at. I kind of shot myself in the foot here. I pitched 3 stories to Sweetwater when they first accepted my concepts, and they accepted all 3 of them. And so that immediately put me in like a backlog of like, hey, I got to shoot these like high concept. Actually, I'm sorry, they accepted 4. And then I shot this video in the middle of that, and then I shot all these videos for Origin Effects in the middle of it. And so like my production timeline, which was like normally like 1 week, 2 weeks, turned into like a 9-month turnaround now. So I'm just now putting out this Quilter video, and I feel terrible for Coulter, but they're so cool. They've been very understanding. And the video came out better than I thought. So next week on Thursday's premiere, the trailer comes out on Tuesday. I'm gonna put out another video, but it's gonna be great. So a quick thing about NAMM too is that it's really, if you're an introvert, it's just like not the place to be. But if you are serious about business, it's just like it's such a cool. There's like almost like too much that you can do. So you have to be really disciplined about like what do you want to get done, because there's only so many people you can meet with. There's only so many also commitments. Like since I don't have a business, it's just me. There's only so many commitments I can make to brands that I want to work with. And there are brand. I mean, obviously, I hit up Quilter. I hit up Cornerstone. Check out their new reverb pedal, which sounded insane. I hit up Tone King. I hit up who else? Lawler pickups. Like all these brands that I'm like very familiar with their work. I'm like, I just need to know. I just need you guys to know that I love your work and like we should make something fun. We should make something interesting. Oh, I got to meet Cyber Attack. Oh my God, he is the coolest. I think I said this on the last stream. The coolest guy ever. So I actually did meet Rhett Shull. You mentioned he seems to not like the guitar. Yeah, I did meet him in passing. Didn't get to chat with him, but I met a lot of. I met what's that other guy? Mike Cole, really nice guy. I saw the Jet Guitars booth, and every time I came by, it was swarmed. I could not get in, and I messaged them ahead of time, like, "Hey, my buddy Steve said that I'm gonna to check you guys out. I'm gonna stop by." Every single time I went by there, it was like 3 deep. I mean, it was so. Every time I went to the GNL booth, where I was like, I'm gonna come by and we'll chat. 3 like massive group, Blue Guitar, same thing. All these other brands. That's the other thing you don't think about. It was just packed, and I wasn't part of the. I was like part of the creator, content creator badge, so I couldn't get there like really early in the morning and set meetings, and it didn't. And the other unfortunate thing is like I don't have a lot of gravitas, so I can't like request a meeting with these guys. So they're like waiting for me. Even when I did, I still got blown off by some brands. Which again, I get it. It's a trade show. That's just how it goes. So next year, I hope to make more of an impact and start doing my outreach like a couple months ahead of time. Yeah, but Jet was slammed. What kind of person am I? Do you mean like how would I rate myself out of 10? You're gonna have to. I'm assuming that's a. What kind of person am I? That's a really good question. I don't know if you meant it in the way that I'm taking it. Yeah. So he doesn't look like he likes to play. To go back immediately to your comment earlier. About like Rhett doesn't look like he enjoys playing guitar. I'm sure he does enjoy playing guitar. I was just kind of ribbing some of these guys who they have such. It seems like they have such a rigid way of expressing themselves, and maybe they're just like maybe I'm like too loose. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're normal, and I'm the one who's like way too extravagant, and way too energetic. Speaking of energetic, met Jay Leonard J, really nice guy. Incredibly nice guy, and he is as enthusiastic in person as he is in his videos. And he's also insane player, can play at any BPM, any song you want, like knows like hundreds and hundreds of songs on recall. And I knew he was good, but sometimes you're like, okay, he's good on video, really good live, like real shredder. I was just shocked. Next year, you can take Tone Town PD. Yeah, right. Think you guys have little badges. How long have you been playing guitar? I've been playing guitar for like over 25 years. I've been playing a long time. But I've been playing music in general for even longer. I mean, I started when I was 6 playing piano, then I played trumpet for like 10 years, guitar. I just kind of picked up YouTube Guitar Sphere. Like I guess Thanks, Steve. And I try to be optimistic because it just seems like uh, music just makes me happy, and I whenever I play music with other people, it seems like they're happy. So I'm like, does music make people sad? Like, or like, I've never seen music ruin someone's day unless it's a rough gig. But even then, you're like, well, at least I'm playing music. At least I always try to think about that. At least I'm playing music. I could be, any of the other jobs that I've had where I've hated that are like physically demanding and insane. I'm like, at least I'm not doing that. Even on the worst days, music is still such a gift from God. It's just like, this is so nice. Um, any classical or acoustic play? No, I didn't play any classical or acoustic. I mean, I played acoustic guitar, but like, singer-songwriter stuff, so it wasn't like very demanding. You know what I mean? It's and not to diminish that, but it's like I would not call that like true like acoustic guitar, like flat picking or like bluegrass style, or it's certainly not classical style. I wish I learned that. And I remember my mom wanting to push me to that, and me saying, "No, mom, like that's why I'm playing jazz trumpet. Like that's my classical side, and guitar is my expressive side." And now I'm like, I probably should have learned classical guitar. That would have been really helpful. Music is amazing. You agree? I think there's a lot of YouTuber musicians who wanted to be a rock star, sort of doing tech videos now. I don't see it as that. Still a living making music. Yeah, it's music. Like one of my musical heroes, my uncle. Um, I remember he told me at a really young age. Every now and then I would get to go up and sit in with him when he would play, and I was in like eighth grade. So and I was like very new to guitar, and he would always like pull me over to the side afterwards. It's like, listen, man, you're gonna run into a lot of musicians who say, "Oh, you're playing weddings," or "Oh, you're doing this," "Oh, you're doing that." And he's like, "No, it's music. Like if you're playing music, it's a good thing." And I'm like, right on. And he always said that to me like from a very young age, and I always internalized it because you know and I'm sure you guys have run into this. Like you'll play a gig and there's some guy who's in your band who's rolling his eyes, he's like folding his arms, like I'm better than this. I'm like, well, you're not better than this because you're on the gig, man. So like you are this. You're like you are good enough for this. You probably maybe you're better. Like I mean, I'm not gonna say that I haven't been disappointed in the music industry. Like there's been so many times where people have said no to me and said no to my band and we weren't good enough and it's like it's pretty rough and so the fact that I get to do this and like talk to other musicians is to me is like it's such a nice respite because here's what gets my goat and I guarantee you this is what makes everyone else mad and cranky is that some other bonehead who's not a musician, right? Who has no creative inkling in their body, they're telling me that I'm not good enough. And that to me will upset me and always has upset me and will upset me for the rest of my life. And that's probably what upsets most musicians. Like, cause I'm sure you guys have had that. The booking agent doesn't play guitar and he's telling you no and your band no. It's a bummer. It's one of the worst feelings in the world. Like it's one thing when another musician who's better than you says you need to get better, and you're like, okay, you're right, I do need to get better. But when someone would not like they don't have a creative bone in their body telling you that you're not good enough, you're like, go to hell. That's what you want to say. But at the same time, like, what can you do? That's the game. Like the reason they're in their spot is because they're not a musician. Like the reason they're like A&R, the reason that they are in charge of like outreach for whatever brand or whatever company, and they're telling you no, it's because they're not a musician. That's why they're in their job. Because if they were a musician, they'd be a musician. And so I always have to remind myself, it's like someone has to work that job, and you're not their cup of tea, but that's not a good reason to quit. And it's also not a good reason to make other people feel bad. It's like, okay, maybe my dream didn't work. Obviously, like my dream wasn't like, I'm going to be a YouTube guy. Not that I don't like this, but I wasn't thinking like that's my career. I was thinking like, I'm going to be a producer and a writer, stuff like that. Those things didn't happen. And so now I get to do this, and that's fine. And I actually am thrilled I get to do this. But I never wanted to be like, well, since my dream didn't work out, I'm going to make sure no one else is happy with their dream. That's where it can be really rough, you know? And that's what I try not to be like. It's like there are so many opportunities well, there's not so many. There are some opportunities out there, and I think we should go shoot for them. I think we should go for them. Let's see. Next year, what are we going here? Da, 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 da. Chet, Jer, and Knowles played so classical and jazzy. Yeah, I agree. People who criticize the most are the ones who barely partake in any. Nice cross. Thank you. Oh yeah, there's knuckleheads all over. Once had a guitar player scold me for using AC-15. That's insane. Like, hey man, the Beatles played Voxes. What are they talking about? Like they were like the poster child for Vox. It's just funny. But I'm sympathetic to someone who gets cynical. You know, it's easy to get cynical when there's something that you create is out there because it's part of you is like in that art. So, you know, it's easy to be angry. But again, the only way out is through. So you just got to keep. What are you gonna quit? Like you got to keep going. It's like, and this is how I feel every time I make a video. You know, every time I make a video, and it doesn't hit 1 million views, which none of them have, I think, wow, that's a failure. That's a failure. Like I post a video, and in my mind, I'm like, emails should start coming in. Alex, we want you to direct our X, Y, and Z. Alex, we want you to help compose, you know, A, B, and C. None of those things don't happen. Not to say that I don't appreciate people watching. I do love that people, and I'm very appreciative that people watch my videos, and I appreciate that you guys are so supportive. But you know, also in the background, I'm like, and this is gonna be the one that I get to start doing like some, you know, I get some recognition, and it doesn't happen, and I'm like, okay. And so I have about a day where I'm like, I'm depressed, and then the next day I go, fine, I'll make an even better video. I'll make an even bigger video, and I'm gonna go even more over the top, and they'll have to see it. They'll have to watch it, and they'll have to. I'll be able to get that next step, whatever it is in my mind. Garnet amps have not. Guess who used them? Oh, right on. You have a trainer? Right on. I know a lot of guys that love trainers. Yeah, I like my amp game is like all really small amps right now. It's small, little, quiet amps, with the exception of my Boss Katana, which is louder than. It's so unbelievably loud. So, I mean, luckily there's a master volume on it, but it's really surprising how loud that is. Sometimes I can't play in tune though. Actually, there's something I need a good guitar tech because I all my guitars need every guitar I have needs a little touch up because I'll be playing, and I'll listen, you know, as I'm editing, and I'm like, God, like that's all out of tune, and I can tell the way I'm playing. I'm like, and I knew it was out of tune. Like, and so you're avoiding certain strings, you're avoiding certain notes. So from smallest to biggest, smallest small amp is my Roland Microcube. Then I have the Supro, the 5-watt Supro with the just one single knob. Then I have another 5-watt. I have a Morgan Electrics 5-watt. It's like a Tweed Princeton. And then I have, what's next small? Tone King, 5-watt Gremlin. And then I have the Quilter Cub UK, the Boss, the Fender Blues Junior, you can see right there. That's, I guess, 15 watts. And then at 20 watts is the PRS HDRX 20. And that's it. And then the Boss Katana, which is really loud. But I have a bunch of little ones. And I love all of them though. They all like do a little fun little thing too. Oh, and this guy. And then this. So I can't believe how loud this is. This is an amp. This Super Block, I'm telling you, like I'm never gonna leave this at home ever again. It's like just to have it as a recording solution, it's unbelievable. And now this came out like 5 years ago, but like look how small this is. You know, you can like put a little necklace around it and play. You imagine that, John? If you're watching, I'm gonna make me a little, or I'm gonna make, maybe I'll make one, a little harness where I can just like turn knobs. I might do that at NAMM one year. I'll put a backpack of a cab and I'll have this plugged in, and I'll be walking around the Quilter guy, the Quilter necklace guy. I'll be like, what's that guy in Run DMC? What a clock. Back before that was like, what are you doing? That was like, whoa, look at how cool he is. He's got a clock on his chest. Because you look Flava Flav, that's the guy's name. Because you look at that photo now, and you're kind of like, that's kind of silly, right? But back then, that was cool. Apparently, that's really funny. He had a clock. I just bought the DCX Boost and MEQ driver because of my video. Oh, right on. How do I use mine? Same exact way. DCX I use mostly for tone shaping. Yeah, mostly on all the time, but for tone shaping. I mean, I love the highs that it brings out because it has that natural high-end filter where it'll filter anything if it gets like too spiky. And it's great. It's great for shaping, always on. I typically don't use it for its overdrive side, even though it has a great overdrive side. But since you can't switch between the two, I just keep it on the boost side, always on. And the same with the MEQ driver. I just have it as a lead boost, solo boost, and it just rips. It's got such a fun. I love it with single coils. I don't love it as much with humbuckers, but I haven't tried it a lot with humbuckers. So, but I love the Halcyon Gold with humbuckers. I mean, sounds great. It's like the Halcyon Gold has such a nice EQ profile on it. That's on the mod setting with adaptive circuitry on level 2. I'm on the neck pickup, full humbucker right now. So it's kind of like. It's a great sounding pedal. Really surprised. Not really surprised because I've played so much, but I'm surprised. There's a lot of pedals I have that are like, we're only single coil and we're only humbuckers, right? You know what I mean? Like your pedals where you're like, those are my single coil pedals, those are my humbucker pedals, and never the twain shall meet. And yet, Halcyon Gold works great across both of them. They just have great. So like I've noticed this too. Like some companies, like you'll know their personal EQ, right? Like whoever their product designers, they have an EQ in their mind where they're like, this is what we think it should sound like our products across the board. Like you can hear an Origin Effects pedal because of the EQ it has and like the characteristics it has, whether it's an amp creation or their overdrive series. And so like the Origin Effects EQ is like that EQ that I want for my guitars. What else did I want to talk about at NAMM? Oh, meeting up with Tom too. Like Tom and I just like laughed the whole, like we hardly got any work done. We were just like laughing the whole time. And then who else anyone else I get to meet? I ran into Brett Papa there, obviously. He's in Nashville, but it was great to see him there. Oh, Steve Sterlacci, sorry. That guy's really funny. He's a really funny guy. And then the amp is the Supro 5-watt amp. So just the little guy right there. 8-inch speaker. Sounds great, right? Like no one believes me when I'm like, it's a good sounding 8-inch speaker. Everyone's like, it's boxy. I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea what your definition of boxy is, but like, I don't think that sounds like, does this sound boxy? Tuning with tremolo on is insane. Oh, super quiet? Oh, that might be this. Hold on. Hey, is that better? parts. I gotta file the nut on this guitar. And right, no, I was trying to, because you can change the microphone settings on a guitar, because it's not that quiet in here. It's like definitely louder than me. Oh, background noise. Yeah, there's a little bit of hum, like all amps. I mean, I've never had any amp that's really, really dead quiet. I'm trying to think. Yeah, all my amps, there's some kind of buzz or sparkle or crackle. It's just like every amp I've ever had has like a weird noise, right? They're big mechanical boxes. I'm like, how can they be dead quiet? Although, guess what's dead quiet? The new Bad Cat era Samson amp. That thing is quiet. Didn't get to play it, of course. They didn't allow. I'm not. I don't know them, but I would listen. I would stand by and be like, "Whoa, what's going on?" It sounded unbelievable, but two, so quiet when they weren't playing. It was like, is that on? Dude, that is the amp. And everyone that played it too was like, this is it. This is the amp. So that's probably going to win Amp of the Year 2025. That's how good it sounded. I'm really, and it's like I've always been jonesing for like a Samson era matchless. Like if I found $6,000 on the ground, I'd be like, time to buy that. But now I'm like, okay, I don't have to buy something like that. Now these new era, like that can fill the void, which I have. What do I think of Dumble coming back? I got to hang out in the Dumble booth. I felt stupid buying a Turok head. No, you're not stupid for that. That's actually very cool. That's actually amazing that you own a Turok head. The Dumbles, so I got to go in. I didn't get to play anything because it was packed in that room. They had a little tiny room, but I got to look at the amps and take photos of them. And I'm thrilled that they're coming back. I think the more amp companies that come back, it's better, because the digital modeler thing, which I love, of course, is only because there's these great amps that exist out there. And I want, obviously, like when my kids start playing guitar, they're going to start playing with amps too. It's only better for the industry if more companies invest in amps. Now it's probably, so Marshall pulling a fast one, huh? Like huge booth. I mean, massive booth. Like they didn't care that I was there, which was funny. Like I had an appointment with them and they couldn't care less that I was like showing up for the appointment, whatever. Huge booth, sold to a Chinese company, right? Now, nothing wrong with that inherently. There's a lot of companies that are owned, well, not owned by China, but that are Chinese, run in China, or their manufacturing is based in China or Indonesia or somewhere in the East. But like a storied British brand selling to China right after their CEO was like, yeah, really excited about what we have planned. I'm like, were you? Were you really excited? Because they bought it outright. Like, really kind of confused. And I'm really, I don't know what to think about that, because it seemed not disingenuous, but it seemed like they were trying to pass it off like it's not a big deal. I'm like, it is a big deal. It is a big deal when a British company sells to China, like one of the historic brands. Like if Fender was owned by China, that would be a big deal. It's one thing to have a controlling stake in the interest. It's one thing to have manufacturing done there. But when the headquarters are based in China, it's much different, because I would say that Marshall was part of British culture. It shaped British culture and it shaped American culture. And now it's being held by a country. Again, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but that's a huge change. And then, so just like if that happened to Fender, or just like if that happened to Ford, right? These are companies that kind of created, the culture of these countries. So it's very interesting to me. And the fact that the other reason I'm steamed about it is because like they were almost seemed annoyed that I was there. So now I have like a chip on my shoulder. I'm sure I'll get over it. I mean, like they're a great brand. We'll see what happens to their manufacturing. It just seemed like they were also just weren't innovating and like did not care to innovate in any way for years. Not even innovate, like put out something new. The best they could muster was like the Origin. I'm like, guys, certainly you could try a little, not try harder, but like you could be a little bit wider than that. But they wanted to focus on Bluetooth speakers. Okay. Nice try, Diddy. As in P. Diddy? Yeah, he's going to jail, right? Or he's in jail. Probably will never get out. Always wanted to learn to play. What's my favorite brand? My favorite brand. I guess I don't have a favorite. I don't have a favorite brand. I mean, like I love playing all guitars and all kinds of amps. If I was going to start, I would probably pick a Squire and then take it to a guitar shop to get it set up properly and made it easy to play. And then I would probably get just a really, I'd probably get a Boss Katana, to be honest. So Boss, I mean, Boss is a great company. Pure S is a great company. Yeah, Marshall. Yeah, amp sales for Marshall are like what, less than 10%. Guns N' Roses. We got a lot of requests. Thanks for answering. Yeah, no problem. What did you ask? I can't remember. But always wanted to learn to play. Oh, got it. Yes. John, hey, what's up, man? I was just talking about this. I'm gonna have a necklace. I'm gonna wear it for next NAMM. I'll have it as a necklace, and I'll have a speaker backpack, like a maybe powered speaker, maybe not. And I'll walk around. Oh, I don't need powered speaker. This is an amp. So just a cab on the back. I'll walk around playing it like Flava Flav. And then I was joking about remember how Flava Flav had a clock around his neck and everyone thought that was cool? That's like, it looks so lame now when you think about it. Like, why was he wearing a clock? Anyway, John was gracious enough to have me in his Airstream booth. It was really cool. Got to check out their new stuff, the Elevate. Man, that thing rips. Necklace rig, exactly. G1, X1 processor. Neck rig. Oh my gosh, can you imagine that? My chiropractor would be very disappointed to hear about that product. I don't have a chiropractor, but can you imagine? Neck rig. That should be an April Fool. It shouldn't be an April Fool's. That should be I should do an episode like that where I'm like busking, but I'm like, I kind of want to walk around and move. Like Bert from Mary Poppins, where he's got like the accordion and the cymbals between his knees. That's like, and I was like, shut up. Aged poorly, yeah. Right, they like when you listen to the music, you're like, this is kind of fun. This is like, these are cool, interesting beats, for hip hop. But then you look at the visuals, you're like, this is kind of lame, right? Because you look back at like NWA or like Snoop and Dre, and you're like, that was like a cool vibe, a cool look. You look at Run DMC, you're like, that's a cool look. Like that makes sense for that era. But then you look at the clock, you're like, what's he wearing? Is he late? Like, that's the other thing. If you're wearing a clock around your neck, like you really have no excuse to be late. Or rather, if you're late, it's to insult someone. A pedal under each arm, but yeah, turn it on like a delay pedal, turning on a chorus pedal. Everyone's like, you idiot, get out of here. All right, guys, I'm coming up on 50 minutes. It was so fun hanging out with you guys. Next week, Quilter video is coming out. Tuesday, trailer. Thursday, the video, we'll all watch it together. And then we'll recap on Friday during Tone Town. Maybe Tom can make it. Tom couldn't make it today, unfortunately. But thanks so much, guys. Appreciate all the requests, even the insane ones, and I'll see you out there.